overlay. Well, here, overlay. What?
Poppin! What's happening?
Nailed it.
That's how we're supposed to do it. Well, see, we will learn how to do this, y'all. Oh, now I got to turn my other thing off, though. Okay. We're good.
You good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. We've got today. This is my first time meeting him. Like, period. Dragon Multimedia LLC got some stuff to show us.
And then I lost it.
Hi everyone, it's Connor again.
Hello.
Great to see everyone here.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, it's nice to see you in person actually. I've actually been somewhat of a fan actually for a while actually. I've actually was tuning into actually con tops actually.
Really?
Somewhat of a fan actually for a while actually. I've actually was tuning into
Probably going to be a future jacket support in the future.
We will definitely be supporting you for sure.
Let me know if there's any echoing.
Yeah, that's
and apologies ahead of time.
that's what I was doing. I was trying to make sure I wasn't
today.
dropping one. I was trying to make sure. Are we good? No echoes? We're all good?
Yeah, I have good headphones and I can, and I don't hear an echo.
Wait. But yeah, apologies ahead of time. My face sucks.
Wow.
I'm not gonna tell nobody why. It's dumb, but it might not be like my nose is super red and swollen. There's actually a bruise where my glasses. My face hurts.
I had to stick that art back under the press. It's still got just a little bit of roll from that cone. Just, from that tube. That tube. But it's almost completely flat. I've had it in the press for about 2 weeks. Almost flat. So, how you doing, Connery? What's up, man?
I'm doing really well. I'm happy to be here, and I do thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, no problem. We are all about supporting first timers and helping them get seen, man. That's what this show is about. So, give us a little rundown, man. What got you rolling, and what do you got to show us?
So, I got started in the content game about 2011, and if you've seen any previous live streams where I was on, for example, Indie Bowl and Aria Black, as well as also JD from Arrow.
JD Calderon.
Yep. Everyone.
Oh no! Come back here. You come back here.
Like, oh, I name dropped Arrow. Bye. No, that was an accident.
It's no problem. Everyone has been super nice, and everyone in the community has been really nice, especially everyone who brought me on for interviews, and even just the people who were willing to chat with me, and it's a really opening experience. And back to topic, so, hey James, I got started in 2011, hello, RVLJ. Hello, Hexalien. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So I got started about 2011 when I got into anime, which is a completely separate story. But from that experience, I got a little bit into YouTubing, social media, that kind of thing. And then about 2016, I started stopping the content with Go Anime and then moving on to other forms of videos. And it's been very stagnant, actually, because at that point I was busy with school and I basically not had much interest in it. And then it was around late 2020 that I started getting into the comic. It was when the first outlines for what would become our first comic would start coming into development. And then early 2020, I formally founded Dragon Multimedia as a full LLC and started putting production full stop on our comics. And that's how I got into the comic scene, at least in a too long didn't read version.
Right.
Nice.
So, Maddie. And so, with the first comic, the idea came with my little dog Bianca, and I was like, how could I tell a good story? And I happen to have some of these characters, and I was like, what if I made this universe of shapeshifters having to come into this other universe without them? And then it started developing through there, and that's what became of our first comic, which is Shift. And you want to say hi? This is Cooper.
Oh,
We have several dogs here because I helped out of rescue and
awesome.
oh, Puggy. You want to say hi? This is my Puggy Charlie, by the way.
Ooh.
I call him the grasper because he's always like this. He never listens. He always plays by his own rules. No matter how hard you tell him, he doesn't care.
Yeah, sounds like three dogs I know.
Hey, you two.
That does sound like three dogs I know. I'm just saying.
Wow.
So,
Here we go. So you're in mailing list stage.
yes, we have a lot of stuff ready, however, but we are still in pre-launch because we're looking at an August release date. Yes, I know you two. Sorry, my pugs are playing around alongside Cooper, and as you can tell, they love to play around. So we are in pre-launch. However, we do have some stuff done, and I'll be happy to show everybody here some pages and some cool stuff from the comic. But first, I'm going to explain what it's about. So the story is about Sunny, and Sunny has a secret, and it's one that she's been planning on using to change the world and being a hero for a while. In the comic, now the moment is here, and she's unsure if she can rise to the occasion. It's the world of Shiobia and discover the secrets of shifters in the role they play in the changing world. And this is a fully finalized concept of what I've been developing since late 2020.
Nice.
So, what you see here on the pre-launch page is a brief idea of what you'll see if you back Shift. Basically, you get two of the model sheets. One is of Sunny in a normal form, and one is Sunny in her strings form, which is the idea with shifters is they're shapeshifters. It's just the spelling is a little off because of an in-universe reason. Because they're not from here, they're not like normal shapeshifters, and basically a bunch of in-universe exposition, and that's the whole reason they're called shifters for why.
Yeah.
Shifters can potentially have unlimited forms. However, newbies only have one or two because they don't know how to use it, and they have sometimes issues using other forms because sometimes they forget the one they need, so they just stick with one. And what you see is Sunny's main one, which is called a string, which is a spider tar looking design. Do they have any sequential art to show? I actually have a lot. Let me pull it up because I actually have a lot I'll be willing to show. I just have to pull it up. And so, if you have no idea, this is the comic's going to be 24 pages plus 4 pages of extra stuff, which includes Alt Take, which is an alternate take on the sequence of events. Basically, and also the version before that was rejected, and a mini comic, Endless Possibilities, which I'll discuss a little later. And we also will have some behind the scenes with a special edition of the comic that you can only get as of right now with the Indiegogo. And if you have any interest in the comic, please sign up for the mailing list, because at 50 you'll reveal what the reward is for those who backship and who are part of the mailing list. Because we currently have about 32, and we had an extremely successful addition of subscribers, which I thank everyone who has joined so far. And we need about 100 to fully launch at the end of August. It's mainly a main goal. And so we're looking at trying to get the 100 before the end of August, which we're looking at a date of the 29th, but it could be something to change. And due to that, we have been looking at helping get more people interested in the mailing list. And we also have some really cool rewards for those who join the... So I'm just pulling up some images, but we have some really cool stuff to show later on, and I'll be super happy if you guys can join the mailing list, because again, it will not only help because we're able to send updates directly to the mailbox, but also we'll be able to get you a free reward when you back it. And do you guys have any questions? Or?
I'm just signing up for the mail list right now.
Nice. I was gonna say I didn't post it in the chat. I'll post it in the description later. I've been having a hell of a time, so I'm just happy that we started on time.
So, what? I'm like, how did you get to this type of anthropomorphic idea? Was it your love of animals, your rescue heart? What was it?
It was a mix of ideas with the characters and previous designs that I had with them, and it was also experience with animals.
Right.
And so I would like to interrupt to bring up a question from James, who says, who is the artist?
Oh, Yeah, I was about to do that, yeah.
And I'm super happy to bring him up. So, my artist is named Ringo, and he's done a couple of comic work and stuff. He was featured at the end of IDW Sonic, but has also done other work for other creators, and we're super happy to have him on board. We also got his colorist, Laura, I believe. Yeah, Laura Adams, and they do such great work. I'm going to show you some pages later on, and it's pretty good stuff. And I'm happy to share with everybody who is interested.
Cool. What do we got? What do we got?
So, would everybody here want to see some things I can show from the
Yeah.
comics?
That's
Okay, so
the whole thing is right now you're presenting the foundation for your campaign promotion. Give people what you feel good about giving without giving too much, but save something for your launch day. Save a little something for the middle of the campaign to show off. But by all means, you're building the foundation of the people that are going to be watching this when it launches. So give them what you got, bro.
this is a hello to Snowdub, and I really do thank you for the feedback, James.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly. Wow me.
That's what this particular show is for. It is for advice, feedback, and promoting like first timers that
Yep.
gonna need that extra push out there because it's so competitive out there.
I understand, especially having dealt with some creators who just don't understand how lucky they are to be in this field and just want to be jerks to others. Trust me, I've seen how jerks can be. So
Yeah,
I really do thank you for the feedback, James. And now's the time to wow everybody.
All
I have a
right.
couple things to show. So obviously I'm going to show some things we've seen before. Like, this is the finalized version of the character sheet for Sunny. And with Sunny, she's the son of her father, who is a well-known ship. However, unfortunately for her, she's not able to fully master her abilities yet, because the problem is she's always been told to hide them because of the risks and the fact that she just doesn't know how to use them properly, despite having trained. She's just not equipped to do it. And we see that in the first issue. Hello, Bone, and hello, Yotam Dice. And we see this the first time we see her strength form. Now, with the strength form, it's not fully developed yet, but in this issue, it's the first time we fully see it with the audience. It's the first time we fully see her shift, and this is her first form. As stated before, shifts can become so many different forms, it's potentially unlimited. However, with Sunny, because she's a newbie, she can only transform to this one, because it's all she knows how to, unfortunately. And due to that, opportunities could come up that could really, well, screw her. One of which is a villain wanting to go after her. And this is Bowie.
Oh, nice.
Now, Bowie is a cat shark,
I like him.
and he wants to go after Sunny. Now, I'm not going to explain the reason fully yet, because we're saving that for the book. However, basically, he has a vendetta, and Sunny is inexperienced. So, yeah,
I like
things clash. Mata says, what on earth is that? It's a cat shark. So, the idea is it's a custom creature of a cat and a shark. And his design was based on his rough childhood and teenage years. He's still dealing from the trauma of that, and the rough nature of the design builds off that. And you can also see it in some pages. So this, I've also shared some pages before on other streams, but here's the one I do want to share. So this is one of the pages we fully have finished. So this is during one of the action scenes, and you can really get a detailed look on the art, the style. It's definitely a lot more of a little bit of an anime vibe, especially with a little bit of the cartooniness of the panels. But the idea is we went all in on the... Oh, what on earth is that before the catch? Oh. So the idea is that's a spider's heart. Basically, it's a spider who has extra arms and legs, and basically they have a lot more strength capabilities compared to a normal. And they're also way bigger. And the idea with I skipped showing unfinished work in progress. This is because you always want to use the idea of the best. I do thank you again for the feedback, James. We take all feedback into account. And so the reason why I like to show you some of the stuff is, again, I love to show work in progress. It's something I love to do because it takes so much time and work, especially with there being both the artist and the colors. So it's nice to show a little bit of both. And it also shows our style of the comic, which it's very cartoony, it's very action adventure. It's a very fun little comic. And with Shift, it's definitely a lot more focused on the action adventure. And it also really dives into the characters because we want to tell a good story. We don't want to basically tell others, hey, here's a message, and have the characters follow it. We want to tell a story and have the characters basically be part of the story, where they aren't forced to, follow the story, they are the story. And that was the idea, because someone like me, I love a lot of the 2000s cartoons, and that was a huge inspiration. Because with Shift, the idea is, yeah, it's got that cartoony look. And I know it's not for everybody, but I feel like when we were designing everything, we were like, yeah, we should go all in on it. And Bingo has full on went all in on that style. Like, it's very actiony, it's very adventure-y, and again, I'm super happy to have everybody on board because, again, a lot of it has to do with the art, but also a lot of it has to do with our writer, who is Michael Logan, and he's been a super duper help with doing the comics fighting because I had written an outline and he really perfected the outline. And he's also really helped us with developing the comic the way it is because he has been so much help with suggesting things. We got back and forth about some things, but I feel like it's really helped. A lot of the ideas he brought to the table have really helped the comic. So we have a sales pitch in the comic.
Yeah, what's your elevator pitch?
Yeah, the elevator.
And you're gonna need one. You're gonna need
Good
that
practice.
30-second,
Yeah.
that 30 seconds of give me a reason to ask you questions.
Basically,
The sales pitch is, Sunny has a secret, one that she's been planning on using to change the world and be a hero. Now the moment is here, and she's unsure if she can rise to the occasion. Enter the world of Shiovia and discover the secret shifters in the role they play in the changing world.
Right? I like it. I like it. You can tell. Put a little thought into that. And you will add and subtract from that as your campaign goes on. You'll keep polishing it. You'll keep, fitting it to your audience wherever you're at, okay? Because, you'll be on different streams. There'll be different audiences. But that's a great basis. It's a great beginning, But yeah, you'll be changing that up here and there and, adding stuff to it and polishing it. But for not having launched yet and knowing what you want to say, that wasn't bad at all, man.
Yeah, it definitely was something we, especially me and Michael, have really thought about. Because when we were looking at,
So, Matt,
the action adventure market is very crowded, especially with a lot of action and adventure books. But so we thought, okay, how are we gonna distinguish? And the biggest way I say is I basically just be honest. We're an action adventure.
we're laughing at the chat. We're not laughing at you, Connery. We're laughing at the chat. Okay.
Oh, it's no problem.
I don't know why, but I find this
Yeah,
one is
that-
the one before it. Yeah, just
That
I'm
one.
like,
We seen that. We both started laughing because she's sitting there with a bruised up nose and shit.
I was gonna say, my nose is smashed.
Yeah, Timothy has been, oh, come on, you two.
Oh no. Two eyes.
It looks like it's Andy's turn. So, thanks, Timothy. You lighted up my buggy. So, again, I'd like to say hello again to Vicky Grizzly, and we'd like to say thanks for tuning in. And when we were looking at pre-launching, we had to really plan ahead because we really had to figure out how to distinguish ourselves. And so we went full on that anime Sonic style, and we basically ran with it. The art, the description, all very, oh my god, Timothy.
He'll just keep on. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. You don't have to stop, like.
I know, but
You
I like to have fun.
you cannot laugh, but I used to have this problem all the time when I was going around trying to fix my book, is that I would be constantly reading the chat instead and stuttering and umming and forgetting what I was talking about because I couldn't get my eyes off the chat until it became a thing. Like,
I fully understand, but I also like to interact because
yes,
yeah.
that's
community
me
is
too.
basically what builds you. And another thing is, as someone who is a fan, I want to treat other fans with respect, and I love to give acknowledgement.
Yeah, I just had to find a balance because it became an ongoing thing. Every time I was on a stream, there'd be a couple people going, Piper, stop reading the chat. Piper, stop reading the chat. Piper, stop reading the chat. And they start the chat with it, which would just make it worse because then I'm like, now I completely forgot what I'm talking about. I have a book. Like, I have a book. I completely forgot everything about it. So I had to learn the
What's up,
balance
Kiwi?
because Yeah,
I have had that issue at times in the past as well. So,
Junior Ray, hello.
So,
hey Keely. So, again, it really was something, the style was definitely something we took into account in the pre-launch, and we use it to the event. We basically use it to stand out in the place because there's very little competition in that style because a lot of the action adventure are more based on the Silver, Golden Age Marvel books or their own stuff, which again, both styles are great. However, there is this rising interest in anime and manga, and I thought a cool way to somewhat bring in some of those readers is having a little bit of that art style blend in to a comic book. And I thought, why not do that with Shift?
So, who would you say that this book would be targeted? I mean, would you say this is all ages? The art looks all ages. The story pretty all ages.
Yes, the story is all ages, but it leans more towards it leans to both kids and adults because kids love the cute style, and adults also will remember some of the childhood cartoons and that style as well. But also, they like that the writing is mature and not dumb to the point where it's insulting. But it's also silly because it's a comic. It's got to be a little silly at times. Because the idea is, it's a comic book. You're gonna be silly. But at the same time, it can't be too silly to the point where nobody's gonna take the story seriously at all. Like, okay, what's the danger? What's the threat? It's that nice balance that we found. And that's what we were looking at by having an all ages book that could really find something for all demographics. Got the action for the comic book demographic, the cute style of the cartoon comics demographics, and it also has the wonder and awe demographic from the kid demographics, like the kid comics, which I read a couple of those. Like I've read some of the old cartoon strips. I remember always getting, I believe it was either in the New York Times or one of the offset prints, where they would always have these comic pages, and I wanted to really have a little bit of that in the art. And putting your video on was such a great way to do so, and also bringing Brandon in for the mini comic was also another way to really amp up the style.
cool. So, who do you have aspirations of working with? Who do you want doing covers for your book? Who are those people that you just, man, I wish I could get that guy to work with me? Who's that guy for you?
That's a good question because there's a lot of indie artists I'd like to work with. Obviously, I'd love to work with again JD from Arrow, all the Arrow crew. I would love to work with again after Indie Bowl because they were super nice. I guess he's going to say Jonathan Dillard. I'm sorry, Timothy, but I do not know who he is.
That's pretty funny. Think about it now, though. Think about them big names, them guys that when they do a cover for somebody that the campaign blows up. Who do you want to be that guy to come? Who do you want, man, that help you sell books?
Again, I'd say a lot of the Arrow guys, but also.
Okay, well, Randy or Eric or JD or which one of the Arrow guys?
I'll just say JD to make it easier.
JD's
Yeah.
good stuff. I have some of JD's
Good
work
stuff.
right over there. I've been reading. I'm actually in the middle of
Ironically,
one of them.
I know another guy who might be of interest. You ever heard of a Keith Glenn?
I do not know if I've heard that name or not. I don't think so. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've heard the name.
I actually met him, and he was super nice to talk to. And again, I'd love to have him on board and help out if he ever wants to. But
And see,
yeah,
this is
That's really good.
this is how you make that work. You make it known that you'd like to work with that person, and at some point, that person might see that and realize that, hey, I like this kid. I think I'm gonna go work with him. You see what I'm saying? But if nobody knows, so there's so many people in this community that are totally approachable. You know that already. All the people in Indie Bowl, everybody. There's so many that are totally approachable. The only people that aren't going to do what you want them to do for sure are the people that you never ask. Okay?
All the shots, you don't take all that.
Just like that. So, don't, and that ain't even asking. That's just making it known. Man, I'd fucking love to work with him. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that, man. That's not fishing. That's aspirations. This is what I'd like to be, where I'd like to go, who I'd like to go there with. It's okay to let people know that stuff.
again, I think it's not an issue of who. It's more or less my brain acting funny because sometimes it's hard to think of some names when you're multitasking, and
Right.
that's an issue I have because sometimes I'm trying to think of a name like we should work with. Like usually, if I want to work with someone, I'll contact them or I'll shout them out loud. But when you're directly asked, oh my god, I had so much trouble with that at times.
I have a couple people that I know I would definitely love to work with. Okay, I mean, if I could get Polito to help me out, or if I could get Brian's a great guy. He's very approachable. He's been on my show. Real nice guy. But I don't have a comic worthy of Brian Polito to ask him to be part of. But there's people. Billy Tucci, I'd love to do something with it. Don Chin, there are a lot of people that I'd love to do something with. There you go. What's your initial funding goal?
My initial funding goal is about 4K. I believe 3 or 4K on one of my old channels. I have 2K on my current channel. I have about 4 on the Dragon channel, which I'm building. And I do have a healthy audience with both my channel as well as, if you have no idea,
I was going to ask,
no
are
idea.
those gaming channels or are they comic related, art
some
related?
were, I wish it was gaming then, I'll be actually playing with them all. Oh my god, that actually would be someone I would love to collab with. Especially
You have a good built-in audience ready to go.
Yeah.
Yes, I have an audience who, some came from Go Anime, some came through YouTube Poops, and we also are building up a good audience with my buddy Studio PLKS and a lot of me. Those two actually have been working on, if you have no idea, Astronaut Reborn, which is a mini Go Anime show where it's about 2 brothers. One's the dumb one and one is the more mature but easily angered one. And it's this little anime series where basically stuff happens. And we were building up an audience using that one. And I've also helped out on a couple of projects with you. And it's been a great audience there. We also have an audience building on both Facebook and Twitter that have been interested. So we have a lot of platforms, at least on Facebook and Twitter. YouTube, not so much for Dragon, but for my own brand, yes. And yes, the comic will go from left to right, like a standard comic.
You have a little bit of advice. Well, for one, when your campaign itself launches, keep you qualified to come back on this one to show your actual campaign. Advice right now, work on a trailer.
I got a better idea. I might have a better idea than that. We could do a special edition of Poppin on the night he launches and do a launch party for him.
That would 100% depend for me on when.
Right, there's something we'd have to coordinate it, and he'd have to want to do a launch party on our show. But I'm just saying, it's
again, I'll be up to it. Again, once I finalize the date and everything, I'll be willing to.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know for sure.
But I do suggest working on some kind of trailer, some kind of visual audio, even for just the sign up page. Get people in there.
A video on the sign up page for sure.
We are working on a trailer. That is something that we absolutely will take into account because
that shows first that shows that you're the fans that you're totally serious first because you're putting extra effort into it because the trailer ain't got nothing to do with the comic book, right?
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
For comic crowdfunding campaigns, typically I've been offering my voice acting for free. I've experienced, but I've been offering it for free for trailers.
Yeah.
They're generally short. They don't take up all of my time or anything. They're pretty good. If you need a plethora of different thick or kid voices.
Yeah,
but there's that. And just, you need more stuff to show people even right now, even on the sign up.
We are working on updating the pre-launch to have some of the pages that I showed today alongside some teaser art because I'm actually having Ringo, he's previously done some sketches. I'm talking with him about doing more, but they were super helpful, especially with really getting people interested in the characters.
Right.
And one of the sketches actually became a t-shirt, ironically. So it's definitely, again, I love all the advice. So. My main thing is I want everybody to succeed. So I want, when you go out there and start promoting this, the other thing I'm going to tell you right now is self-promotion is king. Okay? If you don't post your project in my group where I see it, how can I share it out to everybody else? Right? So I tell everybody when they have a campaign, post it in the Comic Related Madness once in the morning, post it once at night. We got 2,300 comic people over there. It's a networking and promotions group. That's what it's about. It's not a who can beat who group or, any of that crap. It's about networking and promotions. And, if everybody that puts their stuff where I can see it, I share it out everywhere. I share it to groups. I share it to Twitter. I share it to wherever. I do these shows where I'm on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. It's like, but if I don't see it, bro, if I don't see it twice a day, I'm not sharing it twice a day. And the feed in the group goes so fast that if you don't share it twice a day, it's lost.
it'll get lost down the scroll. People don't scroll that far back. They'll look back a day, whatever, So put it up there, man, and make sure I can see it so I can help you get the eyes on your project. And I mean self-promotion, not just so I can see you, but so that Meredith and Nita see you and they're sharing your stuff over there, Indie Bolt. Everybody, the more they see you, the more they like it, the more they're going to tell their friends, and that's how your whole thing grows, But if you're not working, nobody else is going to work.
That's been one of Malin's good pieces of advice that I stand by too. It's by the time you launch a campaign, have at least a minimum of 5 sample pages of sequential
You
art.
have 5 pages.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm limiting off some of them because obviously on this show, since it's a little bit of a pitch, I want to save some things for the campaign, but we do have 5 pages.
Yeah.
1 double page, and then 3 normal pages.
If you have a finished double splash page, I would put that on your pre-launch page, right?
Yeah,
as soon as you can, get that up there. Because I'm assuming you also have some sequential art pages. But if you got a nice, big, beautiful splash page, put it up there so they can see it.
The main thing we're finalizing is mainly the lettering, because we're making sure that everything is ready for the letterer. And
Who's doing your lettering?
SK.
Cool. I like SK. Good
Michael,
stuff.
and he's also been very helpful. He helped out with one of the early promos. So it was like with the cover, but instead it had something saying ships coming to Indiegogo or IDD.
Right. Okay, you keep saying Michael. I need to know which Michael are you talking about, because I know way too many Michaels out here.
Michael Odin.
Mike Odin. I love Michael Odin. He's been my friend for quite a while. He's a good guy.
Again, he's been such great help.
Yeah.
And I do like to thank you guys for all the great feedback. I'm really taking into account, and it's super helpful.
If you got Michael on your side, you'll have good guidance through your campaign. We just want to get you seen. That's all, And he knows about that. Michael's paid people to help him get seen that didn't do the job, so he knows how important it is, to have to be working on that, on the promotion of it. A lot of hats you got to wear in this indie game now, You got to be a producer and a promoter and a creative and a businessman, and you got to be all that now. So yeah, it is nice to know Eric isn't the only one.
He's trying to do his own comics and he's lettering almost every. I don't know how he does it, man.
Hey, that's a working dude right there too. Eric he's everywhere.
So, to answer Timothy's question, the idea is Sunny has been training with her string form for a bit, but she's still technically a newbie. So this is basically her first time really using it in an action situation in the comic. And it is an action adventure comic because it's mainly focused on the action adventure, but with a little bit of comedy there. Kind of like, let's just say, Ben 10. If anyone remembers that. Because it's mainly action adventure, but it does have that slight bit of comedy.
We got Brian Christgau popped in on my channel over there. What's happening, Brian? What's up, dude? He's looking forward to the launch party, so
I think this is the first time so far for POPPIN that we've got somebody with a mailing list. It's pre-campaign. They haven't launched yet. That's why I'm saying you probably count.
Yeah, you can come back.
Campaign hasn't started yet, so you count for coming back.
Come back during the campaign so we can get people to back it.
Right, we can definitely try to figure out a launch party. If you want to do a launch party on POPPIN, That would be kind of neat. That would be pretty neat.
I think that's kind of the direction the show is going to end up going, Piper. Anybody?
I'm super interested in doing a pre-launch party with you guys. Again, I'm just having to finalize the date with all the mailing list stuff, and you do need that 100. But either way, we're looking at end of August. We're basically not even going to go into September without it being on Indiegogo Live.
Okay, we got you then.
All right.
No doubt. We got you.
I was going to say, I will write that in my scheduling stuff to around there.
Yeah, I'm only doing a 1-day con at the end of August because I'm going to go to Grand Rapids and I'm going to see a whole bunch of these people. So I'm not going to have them come back 2 weeks later to do CromCon. So I'm going to do CromCon Europe at the end of August. We're going to do 1 day, nothing but European creators,
Nice.
and cover those guys in just 1 day. And that means I'll have a whole lot more time at the end of the month to, help you out and get launched and stuff.
I joined the last CromCon. That was the one I watched yesterday.
Yeah, that was day 2 of... If you really want to see something cool, though, go watch the Friday night pre-con show. I had Randy Zimmerman from Indie Vault and Peter Cimetti and Frank Forte, and I do every time, and Don Chin. And those guys were a blast. If you really want to see a couple hours of good entertainment and education, it was a great stream.
I can imagine.
We was all talking about how, those guys have all been indie for the whole, for a long time. They basically bailed, fuck mainstream a long time ago, and have been doing what they do, like Peter and Frank Forte has been with heavy metal, and Don Chin, Parody Press. They all have their own thing that they've been doing for quite a while. So it was really neat talking to all them about the way things drove them out of the industry back then to drive them to do their own thing and where they're at today, the journey to where they're at. Randy, Arrow 4.0, Alterna with Peter, Parody Press over there. These guys are all successful indie publishers. And it started with one book.
Yeah, it's definitely something. It's definitely interesting, fully being a comic creator, because coming from a fan of the medium, ironically, I hate to say it, thanks to Sonic, because he was the first comic I read, and then I got into all the other stuff. Especially as that one was going downhill, I got into other comics, and it's been really interesting, this journey, going from a fan to a full-on creator, and it really is such an interesting experience, both like being able to talk with other people about your project and just being given a platform to really express your creative work in ways that I never thought possible when I was younger.
Brian said over here, he said, Connery is now connected to a big group of awesome people, happy to help him with his campaign with no expectations of any reward other than seeing a newbie succeed. And that's pretty much nailing it right there, man. It's like, I just want to see you guys rock it out,
I really do. Thank you, Brian, for that comment. Again, I am a newbie, but I'm super happy as a fan of comics to fully, basically, not only make indie comics, also support them. It's actually another one of my...
What is that? Hold up. What is that? I mean, big screen that, Piper.
I did. Actually, rather not.
No?
It's
I don't know what it was. I couldn't see it. That's all I could see was glare. That's why I was trying to get a better look.
Lone Wolf. It was another comic.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not cool with them. That's why I'm like, no, not good. I'm good.
It's no problem.
No, like I busted my butt promoting them, and they they did me dirty, so I don't talk about them
Oh
anymore.
wow, I know
promote
that
them
kind of
anymore.
story. I know that kind of story.
No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I exactly know that story. There's people that I just don't talk about anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry about that, but
oh, trust me. Tell me about it. I've been in the Go Anime community. You fought the comic communities at a time. You've never seen Go Anime. Trust me.
He says, I'm coming in with a thick skin. I got armor, baby. I'm ready.
Not really. Imagine a bunch of kids being in the community and acting like idiots. 24/7. It's pretty cool for idiots.
Come on, say hi to Piper. Get up here. Say hi to Piper.
oh,
Oh, this is Zeus. He's what? No, I don't need love. I don't need what, Rocky? What?
there you go.
You don't have to move the chair, dude. Come on. This is Zeus the Moose. Alright? And yeah, he's a moose. Alright, that's enough. You're gonna make Rocky mad. Rocky back there getting all jealous.
I don't think that should have to be a thing, and it sucks that it is. That, like, that's why I was apologizing and said, look, I don't care if we, like, that's my prep leg, I have some.
I think somebody wants to go out. I'll be right back.
As someone like me, I always like to, obviously I give people benefits of the doubt, but I always like to respect people's opinions. Like, they say, hey, I don't want to work with this guy. That's fine. Not a jerk about it. Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like that one jerk who was in the Facebook group that was literally saying, oh my gosh, this guy is this and that. They're terrible. Here's my comic. Oh my god. That guy on Facebook who did that, my goodness, he was the biggest jerk in the group. And he was like, okay, I get you have to speak with this guy because you don't like what he says, but can you at least be nicer? Then he literally called me shill, this and that. He could not expect that he's being a jerk. Doesn't matter if I like the guy or not. He's a jerk, and he basically is the biggest. He's basically the biggest anti-marketer in the world. Because he basically killed any chance of marketing his project. Because to me, if you're gonna be a jerk, then you're not doing a good job as a marketer, especially if you're trying to do an indie comic. All that guy had to do was literally apologize, saying, hey, I might have come off as a jerk, I apologize. But he didn't, and it really upsets me at times. So I fully understand the compromise, and I'm always willing to respect it.
Yeah, essentially, like, if I have a beef, people might end up knowing they have a beef, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go, do not buy this person's comic because I have a beef with them. Or because one of my friends has a beef with them, whatever. Like,
Of course.
that's when you're intentionally kind of messing with their campaign or project or whatever like that. That's going too far. Nobody's going to get along. Like, not everybody's going to get along. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, I fully understand that.
Right? These might become public, but I don't think that other people should be expected to be on top of who's got a grudge with who. And I don't think that people should take it out on each other's campaigns.
It is the first time I'm hearing you out, so I do apologize. So, it is the first time I'm hearing about the beef, so.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely fine. You didn't know ahead of time. That's why I was making sure you knew that I was not being grumpy at you. I was just saying, no, you broke it to a minimum on this channel.
No problem. Again, as someone who has been called into both at times because how dare I not like something, or how dare I'm a fan of something. Like, I really do want to keep an open mind, and if they have a beef, I'm willing to listen. And let's come.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm not Comicsgate, and my book's not Comicsgate. People who are Comicsgate have supported the book but it is not a comic case book. It is separate. And if they want to support the book, I have no problem. But I do understand that there are many things with Comicsgate that makes people, for some reason, not happy with them. And I understand that. Basically, we don't like to label ourselves because Dragon Multimedia is a multimedia company. So even if it was Comicsgate, it wouldn't make sense. I mean, why would you be called Comicsgate on Oscar and Otto? It's a Go Animate show. What is it, Go Animate Gate next? As a multimedia company,
He's got a point.
we aren't Comicsgate, but people who are Comicsgate like our book and want to support it and bring it on, we love to keep an open mind. But again, the book in Comicsgate, it's its own thing. And we fully respect that.
So it's good
Hold
to,
on. I just
specify for people because there are some that are like so into Comicsgate that they are strictly Comicsgate only. So if they see you on Comicsgate related channels, they're going to assume you are. And you don't want them to back your book and then go, oh, I thought I was backing a Comicsgate affiliated book. But at the same time, not many people are like slapping Comicsgate on their books, even if they, you know,
have the hashtag.
and they're Comicsgate friendly and stuff. So generally, the best way to put it is, I'm not labeling myself Comicsgate. However, I am fine with people who do.
Of course.
You know,
CG friendly.
like, I'm not going to sit there and do what the mainstream does.
You know.
Don't buy my book. Like, that's so good.
Of course. Someone on the other end, I mean, I always love to keep an open mind. That's why.
Mainly, I listened to you in the beginning, and you said something about not wanting to put out a book that's trying to push a message and shit. Boy, you're Comicsgate, whether you want to be Comicsgate or not. That's basically, you know.
Ideal.
Yes,
So.
that's. Look, I sat on the sidelines for like a year watching this stuff before I ever decided to go. You know, I align with their ideals. I'm not even a creator, right? I just run a con, you know. But I consider myself CG because I believe, you know, I believe in the ideals. Good comics, no bullshit, you know, and just entertain people. Entertain people. Usually, if they want to get preached at or talked down to, they have a Bible over there. They can crack that thing open and get all the doom and destruction, you know, and everything is in there along with the preach. You can go read the Bible and catch all that you want. I don't want my comic book. You know, that's all. And you said that right in the beginning of this show. So basically, you align with those ideals. You don't have to fly the hashtag. You align with those ideals. People will gravitate to that. You will get backers, you know.
Because the reason why I say it's not saying a message is because I'm a storyteller first. I'm
Right.
character driven.
Right.
So if there's a message, it would come from the story, not the message tells the story.
Right.
And again, coming from a fan, it's more of a fan perspective because I just want to tell good work. I want to give people a product that they like.
Exactly.
It's why something like Now Reborn compared to the original, it's totally different because you're like, how can we improve everything from before in a new show? And that's what we did with Oscar Now Reborn. It's longer, it's a lot more story driven, and it really got more of an audience than the old one because we really have learned from the mistakes of the past and we've made a better product from it. And as a creative, first and foremost, we want to try doing that. Hey, knock it off, you great. You guys gotta do it, go to the other room.
I just threw mine outside.
Jim puts it well, how I was trying to describe, there are both fans and creators that just are like die hard. We're waving this flag, and if we accept nothing else but people who are waving this flag. Most of the time, though, you meet somebody that says, "Oh yeah, I'm comic skate." A lot of the time, they're down to earth, and they're like, "I'm comic skate because of my ideals." But when it comes down to it, I'm indie. I support indie, and I'm cool with you as long as you're not trying to market your book by bashing on other people, by bashing comic skate. Like then then that really closes off some stuff. But there are some people that are like, this is a comic skate channel or a comic skate show, so if you're just an indie, if you're not a comic skate indie,
When
whatever.
I declared Comicsgate, I had people leave my group because they basically thought I was declaring my Comicsgate and my group Comicsgate and everything is like, there's nothing farther from the truth than that. The group didn't change. I didn't put a CG label on the group, or it's not Comicsgate Con. It's CromCon. It's always going to be CromCon. And anybody that's cool to me can come be in CromCon. Just be cool to me and my guests and my fans and my members and my groups, and be cool, and you're welcome. Even if you have a preachy book. So I ain't guaranteeing people gonna buy it, but it's just the way it is. I'm open to everybody until they're an asshole to me personally. It doesn't matter,
Input this well. Like I was, super when it was a consumer revolt thing.
It was.
Heck yeah, I was waving them. But you know what? It was the people rallying for the mainstream side of things that were just like, oh well, if you don't like these books, there are all these books and discs. They're the ones that told me I was Comicsgate, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, basically.
You're gonna put me in that box. I'm gonna party in this box.
And this is even funnier. The day I declared that I'm kind of CG, I kind of align with their ideals. All I got was, we know, Pops.
Right.
I thought it was a big deal. I was declaring Comicsgate. Everybody's like, we know.
To me was you didn't have to say that. Like, you've not discriminated, so you already aligned.
Yeah, basically, that's basically what it was. Everybody's like, we know, Pops, and we know. I was like, okay. But it's fun. I mean, look, I've had a lot more fun hanging out with the CG community since I started hanging out. You guys know I stood on the sidelines for a long time and didn't pick no kind of sides, just did my thing. And when I finally did, it was like, when I finally started hanging out with them and getting to know those people, it's fun, man. Go hang out, get to know them, then make a call. That's all I got to say.
Exactly. Don't accuse me of being all those things. That there wouldn't have been a Comicsgate if people didn't just do that to their own fans. Say you don't like what I'm saying, or you don't like my book. That automatically makes you all of these. You don't have to really declare anything. There are just some of the there are just some people that they really are. They've been burned left and right, and so they are 100% TV only. Like, you have to be down in the trenches with me for me to trust you and hang out with you, kind of deal. But and Mata, no, it succeeded hardcore. Succeeded better than Gamergate, and Gamergate achieved what it was supposed to do. Well, sort of. There's still no ethics, but now they have to at least list off.
I don't know. Isn't he even disclosure anymore? Yeah. I mean, I haven't even read a news article in like months. Like, I haven't even read like any news article at all in months because I just not cared.
Oh yeah, I don't care either.
I don't go read them stupid articles, man. It's like I go by my life experience.
Headlines, it's entertaining you because the headlines of the article.
Yeah, but I mean,
fail miserably. I mean, it didn't. it achieved one of the things it
What's
wanted
up,
to
Saggy?
achieve. Like, they weren't out there to make video games and indie video games. They were out there to, they got, one of the biggest offenders got shut down, and B, most of the game journalists at least have to now list disclosures that they didn't before, and a lot of them aren't allowed to, they don't get their preview copies anymore, and they're not allowed at release events because of how ridiculous they were. So it got pointed out. It got pointed out enough, and now it's just, this is true though, now it's just like,
Yeah.
it's kind of entertaining because now it's the biggest boogeyman. Like, we're done. We did our thing. Gamergate has been over.
I love how
moved on.
my
And
favorite.
nobody else has the biggest boogeyman. They have a time. Gamergate has a time machine. Gamergate secretly elects president. It's freaking crazy.
Look, my favorite part was how one day all these people loved me, and they were all part of my group, and the next day they all left my group because I was an ist and an ist and an ist and an ist. But they all had known me for over a year and had not gotten that impression from me from knowing me. But because of two little letters, I became all those things. Not because of me they know. Okay? You see, it wasn't so much figuring out who the cool people were. It was finding out who the uncool people were. That's what happened to me that day.
The biggest reason, because having been one of those people in the past, because truth be told, I was very left-leaning at one point, so I probably would have fallen into that category. But I think it was definitely over the course of, I believe either 2019 or 2018, I made the decision to close down my personal Twitter for good. And it was then I fully got into, living my life with people, like getting to know them in school, fully raise my family, that stuff, and really opened me to being a lot more open-minded than I have before. And the problem is, I don't think a lot of those people have really had that experience.
Yeah.
That made them a little more open-minded, because the problem is,
life experience is your best teacher. Life experience is your best teacher, not Twitter. Okay? Not what some guy on Twitter said. Going out and actually experiencing life and getting to know people and doing things and knowing things, not being told things. Doing things so you know them is life experience. Going on Twitter, getting arguments with people about stuff that they or you don't even know is I don't want to. I want to figure out a way to say a facade. It's not real. Go talk to people, real people that you know. Converse with them. You know, there's nothing you're going to learn more than actually doing the things you want to do. And
so there's a funny story about that. So I originally got into an argument with, you might have heard of him, Roger Craig Smith. I got into an argument with him on Twitter, and then years later, after I fully shut down Twitter, and I happened to be at a convention where he was at, and he ironically was super nice, and he didn't even know I was the guy. And
that's
you know what? We had such a great time.
That's what I'm saying.
When I brought it up, he just laughed it off at the end.
That's what I'm saying. Get to know people. That's what I mean. Get to know people. Don't just go by a hashtag or some kind of that. Don't, you can't make judgments on people like that. Get to know people. That's the perfect example.
I really don't understand why, despite me not claiming to be Comicsgate, I'm okay with them wanting to read my book. I'm like, you guys have been nice to me just like everybody else. Why should I give the middle finger? I mean, I've been given middle finger many times by these corporations at times, so why should I do the same? I want to be better at times, not the same.
Yeah.
I want to create fresh blood, not give it old dirt.
Right.
Or
Right.
some trash that came from the garbage that's 2 days old.
And there's a lot of that. I'm sure there's a lot of that goes on where people get in the Twitter twit, and then they have to actually encounter each other at the convention. Now look, are they gonna start separating people at the conventions because those guys are CG and those guys aren't? What about the people in the middle just want to be left alone? Is that how we're gonna set up con floors now? What? You got to get over all
I
that
don't know.
crap.
I mean, I've seen how conventions created some gas at times, so
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well,
it's
I'm not
pretty
saying.
easy to get somebody you don't like banned from a convention anymore.
Yeah, well, that can only happen at a weak ass convention. That's the way I look at that, because you're supposed to be catering to the fans, not the other artists or people bitching about the other guests. Okay, guests ain't supposed to bitch about each other. You guys are all supposed to be there for the fans. Oh,
I completely ditched one because they brought on questionable guests who I would not want to be at a convention with because they have not been basically following protocol at times because they've been super not nice to people and have been apparently not acted properly. And three, they claim that they basically lied to my face because I was talking with one of the owners of the convention at one point and they said, "Oh yeah, we'd love to have that guy." And then literally the social media a year later said, actually, we banned him since '07. Which I'm like, no, you didn't. You lied to my face.
see,
That was something recently you did. Not
and
mine.
I mean,
Dang.
like I said, you got to actually be an asshole to me not to be part of my con. You know, and not to other people. You know, hearsay is hearsay. You know, you got to be an asshole to me personally, and then you don't get to be in my con or in my group or part of what I got going on. You know, but I try to really avoid all the he said she said stuff because, my God, this community is just like Hollywood. It's just like the music industry. It's all cutthroat. Nobody wants to say it. Nobody really wants to say it. It's been seriously cutthroat. Now you got one community that decided to band together, try to make something happen. And there are some smaller cliques of people that have their thing going on and they're trying to build things up, right? But then you have the mainstream hammer. And that's the only thing I can call it, the mainstream hammer. They're trying to bring us all down with their own crappy content.
But the weird thing is, that hammer is starting to break.
I hope.
It's like a poor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, a lot of the normies, they just don't like this stuff anymore. Like, I was talking with a friend, and I was talking about Disney Plus shows because I was walking by, and he noticed something from it. And I was like, "Hey, how was the Disney Plus shows, by the way?" They were like, "Eh." And I even talked to them about comics, and my friend did not give two crap about the comics. He said, ironically, it was the outrage that got him to not want to see the comics because when he found out what the outrage was about, he was not impressed by any of the stuff.
Exactly.
And he's basically a normie in what would be considered their target audience. And he didn't even want to read any stuff.
Nope. It's bad.
What does it tell you?
Well, I mean, because they are the main suppliers of the comics that people read, they're just making comics look bad all the way around. We're working on denting that. We're denting that. We're denting that. We're cutting out a slice of that pie where they're not the ones, controlling the narrative anymore. That's the whole thing. As long as they can't control the narrative and people aren't afraid to go out and make the books they want to make, we win.
They just want to crap out cheap propaganda. Like, they're not even trying anymore when it comes to, like, nobody's editing these things anymore. They have editors, nobody's doing any editing.
Did you see that one post where it was IDW and they let a misspell slide?
Artful O'Neill?
Yeah.
Yeah, and turns out they were hiring editors, so I almost I talked to the editor that was posting the job listing. And I was surprised that they talked back to me after I spent the entire day dunking on IDW. But they did, but they were like, you have to move to California. They were like, yeah, you have to move to California. And I was like, oh, never mind. Nope.
Trust me, I'll only work with Ian Flynn if he gives an absolute apology to all the Sonic fans he treated badly by calling them terrible people. So, because again,
bro, this is Johnny. This is the wrong show. This is POPPIN. This is about comic book figures and shit. Like
first time creators. That's what we cover on this show. But if you're out there, peace out. You know, ain't gonna make you stay.
I would love to never think about that person ever again if I could. Like, but I keep getting back on the internet and.
Oh, don't worry. I think he'll be in bars for good. Anyway, so as I was saying, Ian Flynn and some of the other IDW Sonic creators, I feel like they're good at times, but I haven't been a big fan of recent work. Like, ever since he went after fans back in 2018, it was when they started the Zombart arc, and it really tanked that comic. Like, they took so long on that freaking arc that I swear to God, so there was about 3 volumes where it was the beginning arc, there was the 2 setup arcs, and then the 1 battle arc. And then this one, I swear to goodness, I think it took 4 volumes, and it took about 2 to 3 years to finish that damn arc. And it was terrible. Like, they basically made characters back immature. They killed them off dumb ways of time, and it was not a good story. Like, oh my god, I got so bored with it. And then when I went back to read the whole thing by the volumes, I was like, how can I buy this? This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I signed up for.
Exactly.
This is what you were wasting the reboot on? Same long arc.
Hold on. Wait. Did you say wasting the reboot? The reboots are the goddamn problem.
Well, here's what I mean. This was actually an interesting reboot because unlike the Archie reboot, which is literally them rebooting that universe and then doing an Unleashed adaptation, which I'm sorry, that was another long arc that killed that comic. As much as I love the game Sonic Unleashed, come on. Like, you could not save that comic with that long arc. The problem was, when they were doing the reboot, it actually sounded promising because, it would align with the game. It would actually follow the game. And so that's a pretty good point. It was during the 25th anniversary. They were setting up all these cool things. And it seemed like that they were really getting somewhere. And then it seemed like after the first 12 or so, they slipped on a banana peel and fell all the way to the ground. And it really, really was not that good, unfortunately. Especially with that long arc, which was the same mistake they made the last time. And that's not even taking into account any of the things the fans or any of the previous staff, which is disappointing because if you don't do a good job at stories, the fans are going to call you out, and they really are at this point. Because I'm so sorry, Ian. I might be wanting to work with you at one point, but you gotta improve your storytelling, my dude. Like, you gotta wave it a little bit, aren't you?
Connor, I hate to break this to you, this news, but you're CG whether you like it or not. Everything that you have said on this show, that's exactly.
And when the time comes,
Like,
and when the time comes that you declare that, everybody's gonna go, yeah, we know.
yeah, see, and I was like, yeah, we already knew, we've been there, bro. But so it's weird though because it does mean, with this being your ideals and your opinions, they line up 100%. So unfortunately, when CG haters come around, they're gonna call you CG whether you say you are or not. Whether you like it or not, they are going to call you that and pull their crap on you.
And this is what you do.
I ended up being or not happy. You want to know what that is? I have something called real life. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know that. The thing is, the reason I said real life is because I'm willing to talk to people in real life. I'm willing to make friends. And if I'm going to work with someone who might not like CG, and if they do talk to me in real life, again, sometimes people I get in real, sometimes I get a lot of conflict at times in real life because it's how I meet fellow artists and how I help out on projects. If it wasn't for real life experience, I wouldn't have, for example, met my buddies who were able to do Oscar nominated porn. And
I'm just laughing because it's finally happening to somebody else.
nothing, guys. Anyway, so the idea is the thing, even if they want to try to label me, the problem is read the company name. So it wouldn't work. Number one, we're multimedia, so how the hell are you gonna attach it to? Again,
Oh no, they're gonna attach it to you personally. That's and you are.
They don't attach it to brands. They attach
It'll
to
be you.
your comic books and you personally, like.
But you, like you
it's
said,
attached to me, and I have other businesses outside of comic stuff that I do too, like and other stuff I do. But it's attached to me and associated with any comics I'm on. Like a good example is working with Luke Stone, and Luke Stone, he became fully aware that a lot of his backers were CG. Like, he wasn't yet, but he understood that tons of his backers were CG.
Yep.
People got pissed at him when he publicly called them names and stuff.
those are the same people that left my group when I.
So people got mad at him when he essentially wouldn't disavow, and he was like,
Right.
"Why would I disavow like half of my
Fan base, right?
Why would I do that?" And so tons of people were like, "Well, if you don't do that to your fans, then we won't work with you." And so be prepared for that. That just being. Just being a decent person is gonna.
But just so you know, Connery, Luke Stone's book is coming out with out of Liberty Entertainment with Indie Bolt.
I have talked with him in the past. He's very nice.
Yes,
But
good dude.
another thing I do want to bring up is too, even if they do want to go after me, by the time this is probably going to be in the way future, but probably by that point, there's one thing they're going to have to need. Money. Because here's the thing. We're not promising now, we might never, but at the same time, right now, people like me and everybody here are creating content. And once those IDWs, those Marvels, those DCs, they go to the wayside and basically say their goodbyes because they don't have the money left. The thing that they will have to realize is they're out of a job. They're going to need work with people that they. Where the heck are you going to go? Because the thing is, how long can IDW last, for example? I mean,
they all shot themselves in the foot, and then they keep doubling down on that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I'm wondering though. I think I might be the first con promoter to actually declare myself CG. I don't think I've heard of many others.
My biggest advice when it comes down to it is be freaking friendly and cordial with whoever. And
Exactly.
you know, if somebody starts pulling some stuff, somebody goes, "You're marketing to CG, you're CG."
If they throw shade, throw light, bro.
Right. Be 100% honest. Just be, no, I have never called myself that. But I'm not going to also diss a bunch of people I don't know that could be my customers. Keep it simple, keep it honest.
On the mind.
Yeah.
I'm about the money. I want to make money. I'm not going to piss off my fans. Thank you.
But on the internet, especially on Twitter, it's just inevitable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like one of the weirdest things that I've found is like I can tweet something really weird and dumb, right? And I'll just get some ha-has and stuff. I can tweet a really normal statement, and strangers will get pissed. And I'm like, what?
I'm like, where did you? Yeah, where did you and your 5 followers come from? You know, it's like
it does not seem to matter. We're looking at defense or something.
Yeah, I can definitely understand because again, I mentioned that Facebook guy before. He had beef with another content creator who was going into indie companies. So again, he got into beef with other people, and then he got into beef with me because I was like, "Hey, can you? I understand you might not like the guy, but can you not be a jerk?" And then he kept doing all these things, and then he got his ass banned because the truth is, whether you like it or not, it will stick. And I think the thing is, with Dragon Multimedia, I feel like that company and the LLC, it doesn't need to be labeled because it stands on its own. Even if I come out at one point in the future, Dragon will never be labeled because Dragon is its own thing. It's a multi-layered beast. Even if one part is labeled one thing, you can't just label the other. And I always want to keep an open mind because when I'm selling to other customers, it's a multi-layered process. I want to be nice to people, but I understand that some are more dedicated to their craft than others, and I will be drawn for coming on the conversation show. You know what? They wanted to talk to me. They gave me the opportunity. I'm absolutely happy to speak with them, and there's no reason for me to go after them. And people have to realize, yeah, so I may not be Comic State. Maybe one in the future I am, but not right now because I'm trying to help the company. But I feel like people are going to realize at one point that, hang on, wait a minute. This guy is actually talking with other people and making money. Why don't we work with him? And people are going to realize that at one point because the thing is, the labels are only going to last so long as a target point before they're already now they use as promotion tools. Like, I've had a lot of followers who are comics and have gotten interested through being on the streams, and they're dragging on.
Rebranding.
Probably the one.
You just turn it into a hat club.
Oh man, you would fit right in.
Yeah.
You fit right in.
Oh, dude. I like him. Yeah.
So, this is ironically a little flesh of the character from a little Roblox show called The Last Guest, and yeah, he had this little cute outfit that was for him, so it was really cute. Yeah, when I saw the hat, I thought of bringing it up.
I know you've got a podcast to get to in a moment. I don't want to keep you too long. Give you time to prepare. Plus, we're a little past it now, but we are like at the hour and a half mark. A good spot.
Yeah.
But I think this really gives people a chance to get to know you hardcore and what you're all about. And I'm hoping you got some useful advice out of people.
Yeah.
This is good too.
There you
James
go.
had a bunch. James said a lot that I was gonna say, but he was like,
He was already saying it.
So I was like, sweet, I can just put it up on the screen. I don't have to say nothing.
Yep, that's exactly right, and that's why we kept.
It pays to be nice to people and not put people in a label and then decide you need anybody in this label. Like,
But I also want to bring up that it's not just my project, because let's not forget that Michael, Ringo, Laura, all these people who are joining on, it's also their project as well. And if people are going to back my project, it's not just going to be my name on it. It's going to be everybody.
Okay, I got a question for you. When we do your launch party, or when we get you back out here, whichever it turns out to be, can you bring some of them people with you?
Yeah, I'm very willing to bring them on. You just have to actually say yes and actually come
The
through.
the more you bring out here of your team, and the more people get to know them, and that's all part of the game, man. You know.
I do thank you for all your feedback, James. It's absolutely true. But I do want to bring up that it is a multi-layered beat style project. There's multiple components, and everybody should have equal attention because, while I might be the creator, I do want to bring up that it's multiple people as well. And it's nice to see you again, Timothy. And I really do agree with what Matt has said, because after the Facebook incident where the guy went absolutely nuts on everybody, I made a tweet saying, hey, pro tip, you're going to sell to everybody. Even if you don't like their work or background, you have to realize that they might like your product and are going to support you as a customer. And you have to, whether you like it or not, you have to treat them with respect and dignity. And you cannot be a jerk to customers because it's not a good sales method. Because having studied a little bit of marketing, I only have a jerk selling unless it's a marketing gimmick of a certain product that's famous. If you literally have one spokesperson that's not trying, when basically you're the person in real life, you cannot be a jerk. It's just a matter of, do you want people to buy your product or not?
Exactly. And you want as many people to buy it as possible if you're trying to be successful. Get the word of mouth that goes along with somebody read your book, liked it, told their friend. It all starts right there, right there with where you're sitting. You're nice to people. People buy your book. They tell other people about your book.
It doesn't make sense to intentionally narrow down your potential market.
Yeah.
Because you want to get that insult on strangers and you just got to get it in. You're willing to give up all that potential money. Like, that's just so stupid to me.
Someday,
Just for the sake of being a jerk.
someday I'll make enough money where I have to worry about that.
I'm going to wrap this up because I was starving when we started. So I'm like dying right now. I'm like, oh, I'm really busy today. And then I tried to eat this thing. And I keep finding, why are there so many cream corn flavored snacks in Japan? That's why.
Cream corn
flavored snacks.
I didn't know there was a difference between corn flavor and cream corn flavor. I'm just saying.
There is cream corn. They put sugars in it, so that.
Oh, sweet corn. Sweet corn is kind of sweet already.
It's so off, and I don't understand why they're so.
Yeah, it don't make sense to me in the first place.
Like, I should have looked at the flavor, but I was just like, all right, yellow poops.
Yellow poops.
Because I was sitting there like, well, I'll be quiet and put a few of these in to calm my stomach, and I was like, Never mind. All right. Well, I guess your brand is being a jerk, and you're attracting the customers you want at that point, though.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, let me we put this up here before the end broadcast. Thank you everybody for coming and hanging out on both of our channels, and thank you Connery for coming and showing us your wares and having a great chat with me. Thank you to the chat for grilling Connery, so I didn't have to. And we will see you next pop-in, and y'all might see Connery again when he goes live. But in the meantime, sign up for that mailing list so that you can go live on time.
Yep, there you go. There you go. Peace out, y'all.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Tentacle grape.
You probably got tentacle before freaking.
I tried.
Tentacle.
I tried to get it in there. Now I gotta go kill him. I got it on mine though. Got it on mine.